So, Fire Country is officially back for season 4, and it started off with a bang. The death of Vince Leone, Walter's son, Sharon's husband, and Bodie's father. Now, I had heard that there were some people who weren't coming back this season, and so, given how last season ended, I expected at least one of Bodie's family members to die inside the memory care facility during the Zabel Ridge fire that started at the end of last season. In fact, a lot of people spent the entire offseason discussing who it could possibly be, and it turned out it was my man Vince, the heart of the show. Go figure. Now, the show's creative team stated that the decision was planned, that it was an authentic way to honor the real-world risks of firefighting and to up the stakes for the remaining characters. So it would appear that Billy Burke didn't choose to leave Fire Country, but instead that the writers of the show simply decided to kill off his character. And as of this moment, I don't like the narrative choice that was made here, though I do understand that in shows like this, every now and then, someone absolutely has to die, for the very reason that the creative team stated, to honor the very real risks involved in firefighting. But there were 3 Leones inside the memory care facility at the end of season 3, which means there were 3 Leones the writers could have chosen in order to make this point, and Vince is not the character I would have chosen. I think about the fact that the show already had a subplot where Sharon almost died near the end of season 1 due to chronic kidney disease. So from a narrative standpoint, just for balance, you wouldn't want to kill her off. Plus, she's got a half-sister in Sheriff's Country right now, so I assume the showrunners would want her to be a crossover character. So again, I understand the writers not choosing to kill off Sharon. She's safe. But that leaves Walter, an older character already on his last leg, and due to his declining mental state, and the fact that he was already a character that was on the fringes of the show's overall narrative, I felt like he could have been the sacrificial lamb here, not to sound insensitive. And it would have been a great close to his character arc, saving his friend from the blaze, the guy who was trapped in the closet, before succumbing to it himself, ultimately dying a hero, feeling useful. You know what I'm saying? And even though Billy Burke's Vince Leone's passing makes room for Sean Hattersey's Brett Richards, I would argue that the show could have been just as interesting, maybe even more so, if Jake had been given the post of battalion chief, with Bodie ultimately really wanting it. Nevertheless, I want to take a moment to say, rest well, Vince Leone. Billy Burke will be missed on this show for absolute certain. It'll be a while before I know whether this decision turns out to surprise me and be a good one or not. That being said, I'll be interested in seeing how Vince's absence affects Sharon's character arc moving forward, specifically, and how that might impact the story overall that Fire Country is ultimately trying to tell.